Welcome to Sightseeing Japan, the podcast where we explore the land of sad goodbyes. I'm Paul Bresson.
And I'm Jason Nealing. Paul, what's happening? Sad goodbyes?
We're going to talk about our last week in Japan from our last trip.
Oh, it was a sad goodbye to Japan.
It was. But that just was because it was so great while we were there.
Yeah, we had a really good time.
You sound so depressed, dude.
Well, you just had to bring that thought back for some reason.
Oh, like talking about the trip this whole episode wasn't going to make you think about that at all.
Well, I wasn't going to focus on the very last moment, getting on the train to leave Japan. I was going to focus on the fun stuff we did. I was getting all excited for that, and then you're all sad goodbyes. Jeez.
My bad. Sorry.
Bringing me down, man.
You got to go down before you can come back up.
I wasn't sure if you were referring to the fact that this is the last episode of season 5.
Oh yeah, I'm that deep. I was not thinking that deep. But yeah, I like that connection.
Yeah, that'll be kind of sad too, but it won't be for long. We'll be back soon, and we're going to be working on some stuff in the meantime. Let's see, we have a special erotic art episode to do for our patrons.
Mm-hmm. That'll get posted before the next season begins.
I'm going to be finishing up our video recap, also for the Patreon. We're going to do a full commentary, and you can see all these places that we're talking about.
And that looks like it might be a feature-length film.
I don't know if I go that far. It's a short film. A really long short film.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we'll work on some cooking videos, more of that for the Patreon. We're also planning to work on some more itineraries, because we have some itineraries up there on the Patreon. You don't need to be a member to get access to these or anything. Anybody can just go on there and use a credit card to purchase one of our itineraries. We have a Tokyo, a Kyoto, and an Osaka itinerary.
Yeah, I'm excited to branch out into some new cities with those.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about which cities we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good choices.
Yes. Another thing that's coming up is I'm going to be putting a post on the Patreon for our Daimyo level and Shogun level patrons to suggest topics for next season. And then once that submission time closes, then all of our patrons will be able to vote on a topic for next season. That should be fun.
Yeah. The episode our patrons picked from this season was the sightseeing and overnight trains, and that was really cool to look into. So looking forward to another great suggestion.
Yeah, that was really fun. And we got to use one of those trains we learned about on this trip. That was awesome.
Practical knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else we're working on, Paul? Anything that comes to mind? We got a lot of stuff. There's a big list of
That's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
I would just mention that we also have a Discord if you want to hang out in there and talk about traveling Japan.
Yeah, we'll be in touch while we're on our short break here. You can always reach us in multiple ways. And of course, there's our website, sightseeingjapanpodcast.com, that has a lot of travel tools and a list of our episodes, and all that is searchable, so you can find whatever info you might need. Is that enough, Paul? Are we ready to get into today's topic?
Yeah, let's dive into the final week of our recent vacation to Japan.
Yes. Last time on Sightseeing Japan, we were in Takayama. And on day 15, first day of our third week, we checked out of our hotel in Takayama and we went to the bus station. This day of travel was the day that I was a little bit nervous about. I mean, when you're traveling long distances by bus, I just get more nervous about that than dealing with the trains. And I didn't really know what to expect at this bus terminal. I think I'd heard that sometimes it gets really, really busy and it can get really confusing which line you're supposed to be in. But it actually worked out really well. It was really easy. We were headed to Kamikochi, and there's just a machine that you can go up to and click the button that says Kamikochi, and you get a ticket, you get in line. It was great.
Yeah, us and 100 other people.
Yeah, I mean, it was not busy, but
it was easy.
It was simple.
Yeah.
So we got on the bus. And again, Takayama, this city that we're leaving, we're already in the Japanese Alps. So pretty much as soon as we left town, you start seeing amazing views. Right, Paul?
Yeah. We were just headed deeper and deeper into the mountains.
I was whipping out my phone every 5 minutes and snapping tons of pictures and videos that will be in our video recap. So you don't get to go directly to Kamikochi. You have to stop at Hirayu Onsen. So we did that and switched buses, right?
Yep.
And again, I'm just standing there in line for this next bus, taking all sorts of pictures of the misty mountains around us. And again, we're up at the altitude where you start seeing the fall colors. It was really nice.
It was.
Really, really nice.
That was a simple bus transfer, too. It was everyone on our bus basically got off and stood in line a little bit down the platform and got on another bus.
Yeah. Oh, man. We're flipping through my pictures. I just can't believe the mist. I love the mist in the mountains. I can't get over it.
Just makes me want to start singing dwarven songs.
Dwarven? That makes you think of dwarves?
Yeah, they have a Misty Mountain song.
How does that go?
Oh, it's been a while. Like, and the misty mountains cold. Something like that. I think I'm way off key.
Which dwarves are these?
I think it's from the Hobbit movies. It's from the Hobbit, the recent Hobbit movies, the live action ones.
Recent Hobbit movies. Okay, I didn't see any of those.
Yeah, okay.
They sing about Misty Mountains?
Yeah, they have a song they sing about the Misty Mountains.
Right.
Their mountain chain was called the Misty Mountains.
I'll have to check that out. I think I could relate to that.
Yeah, it's a really deep bass song, so it's kind of cool.
Nice. Well, we got on that second bus. They dropped us off at Kamikochi. Paul, I know I feel like I've already said this about other places in these recap episodes, but this is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life.
100% agreed. I don't get how you could be here and not say that. It's just gorgeous.
This wasn't even on our original plan. Like, we'd finished our itinerary pretty much completely, I think. And then I found a picture of this place and I just sent it to Paul and I was like, Paul, we need to go here. Like, we're going to be in the area. We need to reorganize things to get here.
Yeah, we had a whole itinerary planned, and then you found, not this, but you found another hike that we're going to talk about later, too, and they were both unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think we had to lose a few things from our itinerary, but it was totally worth it.
Yeah, I don't regret how things worked out one bit.
It's hard to describe someplace this beautiful, but just to give an idea, it's this mountain park along this crystal clear blue river and just mountains springing up around it all over the place.
Yeah, this is another one of those places where every few feet, you just have to take a picture. Like, no matter what angle you're looking at these mountains at, no matter which mountain you're looking at, it's all incredible.
You cannot take a bad picture in this park.
But there's still enough varied views that it's worth taking a big chunk of the day to hike through there. So that's basically what we did. We hiked for like 6 hours or so.
Something like that. You go a few kilometers north and then a few kilometers south and loop back around. It was a great hike.
Yeah, so the bus dropped us off pretty close to Kappabashi, which is a bridge that goes across the river, the crystal clear, amazing river that Paul mentioned. And that's really like the busiest part of this place. There are all these tourists milling about this bridge and taking pictures from the bridge. That's maybe one of the best viewpoints, is right on the middle of the bridge.
It's
looking
very
down the
crowded
river.
there.
Yeah, it was extremely busy. But this was also a Sunday. So this was a weekend. Probably not always that busy, but I would think this is also near the peak season for this area, right?
Yeah. Colors were late this year, but they were just starting to turn a little bit. But the park closes in mid-November. So we were only there a couple weeks before it closed.
True.
So they were running out of time to go there.
Yeah. Oh, so Kappabashi means Kappa Bridge. If you remember our Kappa episode, that name might mean something to you. Kappa are these little green, slimy, disgusting creatures that were known for dragging people and livestock into rivers. But it's kind of funny. I really enjoyed looking around the gift shop at this place right by the bridge and looking at all the kappa stuff. And there's no scary kappa stuff. It's all really cute, little adorable kappas, right?
Which is cool, but I'd like some scary stuff too.
Yeah, but I did get this really nice little towel that says Kappabashi, and it's got a picture of the bridge and a really cute little like mascot kappa guy on one end. It's nice. It was a good souvenir, definitely. So yeah, I'm just flipping through the pictures. The clouds were covering up the peaks of these mountains early in the day, but as time went on, they started clearing out as the sun rose higher. So I just have so many pictures and videos of these mountains with and without clouds.
Yeah, the views kept getting better and better, and it's like, oh, that picture's better now. I got to take another one.
Yeah. It really was amazing how blue the water was, and the contrast of the blue water with the orange trees right on the bank.
There's also white stones lining the banks of the river. There's a little swamp area you get to hike through.
A lot of different terrain. It was a really nice day. The trail was pretty busy. It wasn't just around the bridge that was busy. Even once we got to the hiking trail, a lot of the time we were kind of just following a line of people down this trail. It's not remote. But we also chose a really basic, simple, flat hike for the day. If you really wanted to, you could climb some of these mountains. I mean, this is some of the most intense hiking in the country if you really wanted to get up there. So I thought it was really cool that there are hiking trails for anybody, no matter what you want to do, no matter how difficult you want it or how much time you want to spend hiking, there's something for everyone. That was really nice.
And there are some hotels in the park, too. So you could stay there and go climb some of these mountains.
How many pictures have I flipped through, Paul? It's like 100 pictures of this place. And that's really what it's all about. You got to see it. So I guess you'll just have to join the Patreon and see our recap video if you want to check out how amazing this place is. I guess you could also just Google Kamikochi and take a look at some of the pictures.
Yeah, look at the first picture that pops up and be like, wow.
But my pictures are probably better.
So pictures leads me to another funny point I thought there is that you've got this dichotomy of a bunch of people there in full hiker gear, just like ready to take on the wilderness. And then you got this massive group of people there that's women in heeled boots, wearing skirts, not dressed for the cold, trying to get the perfect picture in front of the river and the mountains.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious.
They were all over the place. It was pretty fun watching.
I remember we were joking about how they should rename this one part of the park like the boots and skirts area, because that's where everybody was just hanging around in boots and skirts to get their pictures.
Yeah. I probably accidentally walked in front of 50 pictures being taken.
It's impossible not to.
I gave up at some point, and I was like, I'm just walking down the path.
We also saw a couple monkeys, right, Paul?
Yeah, we did.
On the hiking trail.
Saw some wild monkeys. I did not make eye contact, thankfully, so I didn't get assaulted.
Yeah. We also saw a monkey right by our bus on the way out.
But no bears.
No bears. That was good. Yeah. Man, I passed so many bear bells on this trip. All the mountain hiking, there are bear bells all over the place that you can ring to let bears know that you're nearby so they can come eat you.
Yeah, how many different mountains did you hike in?
I don't even know, man. I lost count. So the bus out of Kamikochi, this one I was even more worried about than the one to Kamikochi, because this one we had to book in advance. And I don't know what happens to people that like go from Takayama to Kamikochi and then want to head over to Matsumoto and didn't book the bus.
You pay $200 for a cab ride.
Maybe.
Would be my guess. Because they don't allow cars in the park. It's only buses and cabs. No private cars.
So I feel like the way we did this is not the most common way to do it, probably.
Starting in City A and ending in City B.
Yeah, I think most people either do a day trip from Matsumoto, or maybe even more common is a day trip from Takayama.
Yeah.
Where you just head back to where you came from. But since we were headed from Takayama to Kamikochi and then over to Matsumoto, we had to book this bus and be there right on time because that was our only chance.
I wasn't worried about this one once we got the tickets. Because you had to wait within 30 days of your day to buy the tickets. Once we got those, I felt good. I was like, we'll be there we'll find it.
I just always want to scope out the bus terminal and see like how hard is it going to be to figure out where we need to be and that kind of thing. But yeah, it always goes smoother than I expect. You know, I'm always prepared for the worst. But it was pretty simple. We got in line, a guy checked our ticket and said, yep, this is the right place for you. So the bus back actually didn't go all the way to Matsumoto Station. It went to Shinshimashima Station, where the entire bus transferred onto a train, which then took us into Matsumoto.
Yeah. I also want to mention that I was very relieved to find that in Kamikochi, they hold your luggage.
Yes.
So we did not have to walk with all of our luggage on our backs for the whole day.
Yep. They didn't have any coin lockers, but there's a little window on the side of the visitor center where you can drop off your bag and they hold it for you.
Yep.
That was definitely very convenient. So we got to Matsumoto. What was your first impression of Matsumoto, Paul? It was dark when we got there.
Yeah. Well, the first crosswalk we crossed to get to our hotel was that one that had the cool little music that played. I liked that.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Matsumoto's known as kind of a traditional mountain town. Of course, it's got that beautiful castle. It's got that kind of vibe. So they have this special crossing chime. Only right outside the train station, though. I didn't hear it anywhere else in the city.
I think I heard one other one somewhere near the castle.
Okay.
I also liked the wide sidewalks. It was a very pedestrian-friendly city.
Yeah, that's true. So this night, I headed over to Coco Curry House again for the third time this trip. And man, I really went all in on this curry. I got double meat in the curry, and then I also added egg and 4 sausages and a pork cutlet. It was delicious and very satisfying.
You got a picture of it pulled up here. That's so many toppings. That looks like such a big curry.
Sometimes I wonder, what the person who made this was thinking. This guy is a glutton. What is this? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, they were like, this is ridiculous. Then they walked out there and oh, he's American.
That makes sense. He's used to American portions. Yeah, so I got my curry, and Paul went to get some dinner, and then I went back to the hotel, and then this was the night of TGB. Right, Paul?
What's TGB stand
The
for?
Great Betrayal.
Okay, yeah, sure. So let's talk about this.
Let me tell the story. You'll get your chance to talk.
This is my story. You get to tell your story.
Why is this your story? I'm the one that experienced
You did
the
nothing
betrayal.
because you did nothing. I did the betraying, so let me tell everybody how I betrayed you.
I feel like I should tell the story and then you get a rebuttal, you know?
If you couldn't tell, we haven't settled this yet. So let me talk about dinner first, okay?
Yeah, tell me what you ate.
I went to 3 Ps. It's a vegan restaurant that serves only tantan noodles.
Just to clarify, is this the letter P or the vegetable peas?
The letter P.
Okay. 3 of them?
Yes.
Like the number 3 and then the letter P?
The number 3 spelled out, and then the letter P.
Apostrophe S?
Yes.
3 Ps.
Yes.
Did you ever find out what the 3 Ps are?
It said something in there about it's run by these Dutch vegans. Maybe they all start with P in their names. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyways, I had the tantan noodles. They were great. They have 2 choices, and it was fantastic. Nice and creamy with a bunch of toppings. You can add all these different toppings on. So that was fun. And then I decided to betray Jason.
Like it was nothing.
So here's what I was thinking. I was starting to think, oh man, we're in Matsumoto already. That means I've got less than a week left in my trip. It's already winding down. I have to make the most of it. I'm not that tired. Kamikochi wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. I should go do something tonight.
Let me just point out, he says, I should go do something tonight. He didn't even think about, oh, maybe we should go do something tonight. You know, the 2 best friends that went to Japan together and were both really excited to explore Matsumoto. No, he didn't think that. He thought, I should go do something tonight by myself. Why wouldn't I? I mean, it's not like anyone else could possibly want to do this with me.
I was being considerate of you because when we were on the train, you were like, I am so tired tonight. I'm just going to grab a quick dinner and then I'm going to crash in the hotel.
I did not say that, Paul. I didn't say, oh, I'm so tired. Okay, I'm just going to crash. No.
What'd you say?
I said, well, I think I'm going to go get some curry and then I'll probably just hang out at the hotel. And then Paul took that as...
That's not how I remember
couldn't possibly want to do anything else, you know, if Paul had something really fun and amazing in mind.
So anyways, I just start walking in the city.
You guys sound like 2, I didn't do that. No, I didn't do that. Like,
It's comedy.
Pretty much what we're doing.
It's clear that we're joking, right? What?
Oh, it's definitely petty. Oh, it's definitely petty.
That's the joke.
So anyways, I just start walking from my hotel. I'm like, let me go explore the city a little bit. And naturally, I kind of start walking in the direction of the biggest landmark in the city.
The one thing that we were both really excited to see in Matsumoto, we did the Matsumoto episode for the podcast. We talked about how excited we both were to see this castle. And Paul just thought, well, screw Jason. I'll just go see it by myself.
Well, I wanted to see it at night. We were planning to see it in the late afternoon. I was like, let me go see what it looks like at night.
And I didn't want to see it at night? Is that what you thought?
Apparently, you did.
Didn't think at all, did you, Paul? I didn't even cross your mind.
I already explained my thought process. By the time I got to the castle, though, it was so amazing that I was like, oh, crap, I should have invited Jason.
It gets even worse.
I didn't expect it to be that good.
He got these amazing pictures. So there's this big moat around the castle, and when the water's really still, you can get this incredible picture of the castle with a perfect reflection in the moat. And that night, it was really still. When I went back, it was not nearly as still. So Paul also made me miss out on some of the best pictures of the trip.
It's not my fault you didn't decide to go to the castle that night.
If you had even said one word, if you had said castle, I would have said, yeah, okay, let's do that. That sounds good. But no, I didn't get anything until you came back and shoved your phone in my face to say, look at how great the castle looked like 5 minutes ago when I was just there without you, because I don't care at all about your feelings.
Hey, at least one of us got those great pictures.
Ugh, how dare you?
So I bet you're all on Jason's side right now, but this isn't over yet.
What does that mean?
There's more to this story, but we'll get to it on a later day.
Okay. I don't know how you could possibly come back from that.
We'll find out.
Are you going to claim that I betrayed you back or something?
You absolutely
that's ridiculous.
did. You absolutely did. We're even. We're square. But
That's
we'll get to that.
I don't know how this podcast is going to survive this.
That was the end of this day.
So day 16, this was the other thing that we had not planned originally, but we inserted it into our itinerary at the last moment because I realized that we were near Narai-juku, which is a post town on the Nakasendo that I've been wanting to see for a long time. So what we did was we got up pretty early, right, Paul?
Yeah, we got up. We were out of our hotel definitely before 7, I think.
And we took a train down to Yabuhara Station. And Yabuhara is a really pretty small town. I feel like we walked around this town and didn't really see any other people. Maybe 2 people. There was the one person at the roadside station that seemed to be living out of a van with his dog. That looked like really fun.
Yeah, they were having a good time.
And then we passed some random guy on a street right next to the roadside station. But the rest of the place, the whole town just seemed like it was still asleep. Or maybe even in the middle of the day, it's just kind of a really relaxed, laid-back kind of place, you know?
It probably always is, but especially at 7 a.m.
Yeah. So in Yabuhara, we checked out the Misty Mountains, of course, first of all.
Yeah.
Got some really nice views of those. We checked out Yabuhara Shrine and Gokurakuji Temple, a shrine and a temple that were kind of right along our path. They were both very pretty.
Yeah, the shrine was pretty cool.
And then we walked through town to the old Nakasendo. So we've talked about the Nakasendo many times before. We hiked another section of it on a previous trip. The Nakasendo was the inland route that people took between Edo, now known as Tokyo, and Kyoto. People had to get between there. And the Nakasendo got you all the way. These days, there are still sections of the Nakasendo that you can hike, and I would highly recommend it if that sounds appealing to you.
It's a really cool thing. Walking over those stone paths, being like, how long have these stones been here?
Yeah.
300 years? Maybe, you don't know.
I love thinking about all the thousands and thousands of people that walked the same trail, seeing these same trees, perhaps even.
Yeah. So we got out of town and started walking, and we did not know at the time that this was one of the most strenuous stretches of all the Nakasendo. We went up and up and up and up some more.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. This was yet another place where I did not pay attention to the elevation changes. But it wasn't crazy. Like, to think about this being the most strenuous part of the whole Nakasendo, that tells me the Nakasendo is not that bad.
Yeah, I think they purposely picked one of the easiest paths possible.
Yeah, I mean, just considering how many people and how many different types of people would have to walk this, you can't make it a super strenuous hike or anything.
Yep.
We got some really nice views, little mountain towns. Is that Yabuhara, I assume?
Yeah, that's
We were looking
Yabuhara.
back at Yabuhara, where we came from.
Yep.
The fall colors were really nice here.
Yeah.
And the sun filtering through the leaves. It was amazing.
This is where I got some karma because I didn't expect this hike to be so hard after all that hiking at Kamikochi the other day and then my little extra excursion at night. I was dying on this hike, man. When we got to the top, I was so glad we got to the top. I was so done with hills at that moment.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a little more than I was expecting, a little more than I was prepared for that morning. But, I mean, I think it was totally worth it. And we took frequent breaks. Like, it wasn't crazy.
Yeah, it was a hard hike, but it was really early, deep into my trip. I was tired,
We stopped at a monument to Basho. We mentioned him in the episode we did about multi-day hikes. He was a poet that went and kind of just wandered around in the wilderness of central to northern Japan for a long time.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool to see him come up. And then we also went to this shrine up there called Toritoge Ontake Shrine.
That was a cool place. They had a lot of really cool statues.
Yeah, lots of statues, and with the fall colors around the Torii Gate, I think that's a pretty cool picture. It was really pretty.
It was these really steep steps up to the shrine, but then we realized that was the high point of the hike. It was mostly all downhill from there.
Yeah, that was a relief.
Yes.
Another bear bell that Paul rang.
Yeah, Jason's not talented at bear bells. I don't know what it is.
I'm more talented at holding the camera while Paul grins and rings the bear bell.
Oh, here's the baby hole. There's a local legend about a baby found in the hole in a tree.
Baby hole, that does not sound right.
Now people throw coins into the hole wishing for children, I think it was.
Yeah, that was interesting. See this tree that's apparently been there for hundreds of years to have such an old legend attached to it.
It's got a baby-sized hole in it.
Sure does. You could definitely fit a baby in there. Maybe two.
Yeah, probably.
So along the trail, we were completely by ourselves for the majority of it. And then towards the end, I had to stop at a restroom. And when I came out, we were like right behind 3 other people, right, Paul?
Yep.
And then as we were kind of hiking with them down to Narai-juku, which was the end of our hike, there was another group coming towards us. And as they passed us, they said, bear.
Yeah, they said they'd just seen a big bear, cross the path in front of them, not far down the trail.
And one of them was a tour guide for a long time, right? And she said she'd never actually seen a bear before.
Yeah, I think she said 40 years of doing this hike, never seen a bear.
That was crazy. I was actually excited to see this bear.
I was really
keeping an eye
wanted
out.
to see a bear, man.
Yeah.
But we did not see the bear. We almost saw the bear, but we didn't.
Yep. The other 3 people that were hiking near us, we all kind of clumped together, and one of them had a whistle and was scaring the bear away. So,
Yep, we were fine.
yeah.
And the group we passed was 30 people. They probably scared the bear way off.
30 people?
It was a huge group of hikers we
I
passed.
feel like 6, 7.
What?
30 people.
20 plus for sure. There were so many of them.
Okay. Not my recollection. I didn't get a video of them, so no way to verify that. But then, after the bear sighting, we very quickly approached Narai-juku, which is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's this really well-preserved post town. It's kind of all just these wooden buildings right along this main street that winds through. And it snakes through, right, Paul? It's like curvy. And there's this one viewpoint that I wanted to make sure to get a bunch of pictures, because this is where I'd seen a bunch of pictures from online. You're kind of looking up the street, this curving around with all these beautiful, amazing buildings on each side. And then you see the mountains in the background. It's just, I keep seeing amazing, beautiful, incredible, there's something, it's better than that. It's better than all those words. It's just one of those perfect places.
Yeah. It's a long road, too. It took us 15, 20 minutes, I think, to walk down this road.
Yeah, it was bigger than I expected. The last time we hiked a part of the Nakasendo, we started in Magome, which is another post town that I thought was really amazing. But that one is tiny,
like 5
compared
buildings.
To this. Yeah. There are a lot of really cool shops here selling interesting foods. There's a lot of street food, too, if you're into that. There were antique shops. I thought that was really fun to look at. I was really considering getting this little antique teapot.
Yeah, the stores here were great. They had so many handcrafted things, really unique stuff.
Yeah.
I also read here, they had a sign somewhere that said, part of the reason why this city became so prosperous is because people would stop and rest here because they knew that leg of the Nakasendo we just hiked was so difficult.
Oh, interesting. Still thinking about that. Like, it really wasn't that difficult. It's surprising that it made such a big impression on all the people that hiked it, apparently.
I mean, we were carrying no supplies. We're wearing
that's
modern
fair.
hiking shoes.
That's fair. That's fair. People are walking that trail on straw sandals and carrying everything. Well, not everything that they own, probably.
No, but a lot.
A lot of stuff. Yeah, okay, I can see it. So once we passed through the town, we ended up at a train station at the end and made our way back to Matsumoto. So when we got back to Matsumoto...
Jason betrayed me back.
Hold on. So we split up for lunch again, and I had like 3 ideas in mind. There was a sushi place I wanted to check out. There was a ramen place I wanted to check out. And then I think I even had a third backup. And I went to the ramen place. There was a big line, and I was like, well, Paul's going to be done eating way before me if I go here, so let me skip that. Went to the sushi place, which was way out of the way, and it was closed. And then I looked for another place. I don't remember what happened to the third place, but basically I ended up not eating anything, and then I was really kind of annoyed and really hungry. And so I thought, okay, maybe I'll go back to kind of the main street that goes through downtown that just happens to end at the castle.
Uh-huh.
So from the last place I was trying to get food, it was a straight shot over to that street, and then I'm right in front of the castle. So I thought, well, there it is. Now I see it. I may as well take some pictures while I'm here. So I took some pictures of the castle in the daylight, still feeling pretty bitter and a little bit vindictive about the incident with the castle before.
The incident.
and then I walked down the street, and I was still looking for something to eat. Like, Paul and I were going to meet up on that street somewhere, and all I found was this little cafe where I got this tiny bun filled with mushrooms, and I was like, this tastes like a Paul meal.
It looks good.
No, I'm just kidding. It was actually pretty good. It was like a soba bun with these marinated mushrooms inside. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't a meal. I was still very hungry, so I ended up actually going to the Konbini and getting a famichiki. And of course, I love famichiki, but that wasn't what I wanted for lunch. Like, I didn't want my whole lunch to be a famichiki and a little mushroom bun. Come on.
It's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
So I went and had a quick vegan burger at Moss Burger, and then went to go to the museum we were going to meet at, and had to wait for Jason, not knowing it was because he was taking pictures of the castle without me.
That's not why. It's because I couldn't find food anywhere.
I wouldn't have had to wait if you didn't stop at the castle.
Paul, it took like 30 seconds to take those pictures.
Well, to be fair, I was only waiting like 2 minutes.
I apologize for making you wait for 2 minutes, Paul.
So we're even now, right?
Not at all. Not even slightly.
So anyways, the museum was the Matsumoto City Museum.
And they had a special exhibit about washoku, Japanese food. I'm going to be honest here, Paul. I was kind of disappointed by this museum.
Yeah, it had a couple hits, but some misses as well. The food stuff looked kind of cool, but it was like almost all in Japanese.
They had a few little paragraphs in English, but it's funny when you're walking through and you see like, okay, there's like 5 sentences in English, and then you walk past like tons of signs just covered in Japanese. It's like you could pull out your phone and translate that stuff, but it would take forever. I mean, it's pretty convenient, but to do that hundreds of times to try to get everything, it just didn't feel worth it. So we just kind of walked through. I mean, we got the main gist of it. They just have different sections about like, okay, here are the different types of fish that we use in Japanese food. Here are where they're from around the Japanese islands. Here are all the different kinds of mushrooms we have. It's just like all the different types of ingredients, the fresh local ingredients that you can find around Japan.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool to see, but
it was kind of cool.
Didn't get a ton of info out of it.
Right. They had a case with a bunch of different types of crabs. That looked delicious. Got a bunch of different kinds of seaweed. Okay, so once we got through this special exhibit, we got to the part that's more just about the city. They had a whole diorama of the entire city, or what it looked like back when it was populated by samurai and merchants and whatnot.
Yeah, it was about 25 feet long. It was a huge diorama.
Yeah, it was really cool. I just love seeing what those cities looked like.
Right.
The way that the samurai residences are all laid out in a row. They all have their little gardens and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man, can you imagine? Somebody needs to make like a VR recreation of these cities where you can just walk around and take a look at what those cities looked like back then. That's kind of my dream for VR as a medium. I want VR to be able to transport me back in time to all of these incredible historical places around the world, you know?
Does Assassin's Creed do VR versions?
Not yet. Not that I'm aware of.
Do you know what city they're going to, or what parts of Japan they're going to recreate in that new game coming out?
I don't know a lot about it. No.
Yeah, interesting to see. They usually like pretty faithfully recreate historical scenes.
Yeah, and they focus on specific historical figures, and like you usually run into some famous people.
Yeah, I bet there'll be a pretty cool castle or two in that game.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that game, man. I can't wait. Yeah, they always try to weave in a lot of history, like real history into that.
This museum also had a whole bunch of stuff about the mountains. You know, obviously Matsumoto is just surrounded by some of the highest mountain peaks in the country. So there was a lot about their connection to the mountains, economically, spiritually, in all aspects of their lives.
I was really interested to learn that apparently, until foreigners showed up, nobody had really thought of hiking up these massive mountains, like some of the tallest peaks in Japan. Like, I guess mountain climbing just wasn't a thing that people did recreationally. And then Westerners showed up and was like, hey, you know, you could climb those.
Mountain climbing might be one of those hobbies or sports that only sounds cool to someone that sits in a desk 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a privileged sort of leisure activity. I mean, there are a lot of people that had to walk through the mountains to survive, right?
Yeah, you need time, money, and equipment to make a run at a serious summit.
Yeah. Oh, here's another thing that we saw all over the place in Matsumoto that I was not expecting. Temari, which are handballs. I'd seen a bunch of these in Kanazawa, but I saw even more of them in Matsumoto, I think. They're everywhere. They were in this museum. They were in a bunch of like store shop windows.
They were on the sewer covers.
Yep. There was a giant temari on the street, like a big metal one that also was a clock, and it looked like it sometimes opened up and moved around and did things, but it was out of order at the time.
Yeah, I really wanted to see that.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Oh, but handballs. So they're like these little crafts. Back in the day, women would make these for their daughters out of like scraps of cloth and different colored thread. And it's just this really incredible art form, really amazing patterns that they stitched into these perfect spheres. And they're all different sizes. You can get little ones that fit in the palm of your hand, and some of them are as big as basketballs.
Yeah, they got huge. So next up, we were planning to go to the castle this afternoon, and we did. But when we got there, this was a Monday, and it was a holiday in Japan, though.
Was this the holiday or was it the day before that was the holiday?
This was the holiday.
Okay,
we were in
sorry.
Kamikochi on a Sunday.
And then the Monday was a holiday. Okay, I'm thinking ahead.
I
On
think it was
Tuesday,
National Culture Day.
yeah, there was a bunch of stuff on Tuesday that was closed because the previous day was a holiday, which seems ridiculous. But,
Yes.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah, so we get to the castle, and they say it's a 50-minute wait to enter the keep. And like, oof, that's a long wait, I probably would have done it, but Jason, you were just like, let's just come back tomorrow and see if there's not a wait. We've been in enough castles, right? So that sounded like a good idea to me. So I'm like, just hold up for a second while I get a couple daytime pictures. And Jason goes, well, I already got my pictures. I'll meet you at the museum.
Are you sure that was the next? No, that wasn't the next stop.
You just didn't want to wait for me out of spite. You were still mad. So you didn't want to wait for 5 minutes for me to get castle pictures.
No. I think I said, you go get your pictures. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I think that's all that happened.
That is absolutely not what happened.
Where did I go then? I'm pretty sure I just went to the bathroom and then I came out.
We left together. I didn't take pictures.
What do you mean? I was definitely in the bathroom
That was
for a while.
the next
You had
day.
time to take pictures.
That was the next day.
No, I went to the bathroom a lot on this trip, Paul. I think you're mixing those up. Anyway.
No, I didn't get pictures.
Okay, well, sounds like that was a decision that you made.
Because you were abandoning me.
I went to the bathroom, Paul.
No,
I'm sure that's what happened.
100% not what happened.
So anyway, next we went over to Nawate Shopping Street. We talked about all this stuff in the Matsumoto episode we did, but this is the shopping street with all the frogs.
This was a cool street. They had a lot of souvenir shops, but it was more like really cool, unique frog stuff that you don't see everywhere else.
Yeah, there was a lot of frog
Also
stuff.
some more artistic, handcrafted stuff.
I got a very cool teacup. I really was not planning to get more teacups. I have enough teacups, but there was this one in this shop that really spoke to me. And this guy, he's like, he does all these exhibitions. He gave me like a little card that kind of explained where he learned his pottery skills and all this different stuff that he'd done, his accomplishments. I'm really glad I have that teacup. It's a very cool teacup.
It is pretty cool.
Oh, there was also a little, another antique shop, maybe a couple antique shops. Those are really fun to explore.
Yeah, there were at least a couple.
I think there was some street food there too.
Oh, yeah.
It was a nice street. Oh, you could buy a tanuki if you wanted. I was really considering getting a tanuki for my home.
If I had a lawn, I would totally get a tanuki statue.
Dude, once I get a house, there's definitely going to be a tanuki right next to the front door.
I'll buy you one as a housewarming gift.
Oh, thanks, man. That might make us even.
Okay, all right. Someday we will get even. So running parallel to Nawate Shopping Street was another shopping street on the other side of the river called Nakamachi Shopping Street. So we went back down that shopping street on our way back to our hotel.
That one had a pretty different vibe. It was more modern stuff, kind of boutiques and
Yeah, they actually had cars driving down the road.
a little more upscale than the other one.
Yep.
And kind of newer feeling.
Still pretty cool. But
I liked the other one better.
Same, but I did like that there was a cafe here serving vegan soft serve ice cream.
And you just happened upon that, right? Like you
Just
didn't know that
happened-
existed.
No, I did. I knew it was there.
You did?
I knew it was there. I was
thought
going
you just
for
saw
it
the sign
whole
and it was like,
time.
oh, vegan ice cream.
I was like, oh, this is the place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was custard flavored, which was different. But custard's popular in Japan, so it was good. It was my first time having custard ice cream.
Nice.
Yeah, but then we went back to our hotel, rested up just a minute before we went out for dinner.
Yep. And I was still aiming for that ramen place. They closed after lunch and then they were opening again at 5. So I think it was 5, maybe 5:30. But I got there like 15, 20 minutes before they opened. There was already a line forming. But I was fortunately only like 7th in line or something. And then even before they opened, just in the next 15, 20 minutes or whatever, this massive line formed behind me going all the way down the block. There's probably like 100 people behind me. It was crazy.
Did the guy come out and laugh
Yeah, he just looked down the block looking at the line and just chuckled.
as he's opening the store? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm busy for the next 2 hours.
Yep.
Was it worth the wait?
I mean, I wouldn't wait from the end of the line, but I would definitely wait behind 6 people.
Yeah.
I got in there pretty quick. I mean, I guess I still had to wait for them to open in the first place. But yeah, it was worth it. It was really good ramen. Got that black garlic oil in there. Oh, that was really good. The gyoza might have even been better than the ramen, though. I couldn't believe it. I'm not usually a big gyoza fan, but this stuff was incredible. And it probably didn't hurt that they totally covered it in Japanese mayo.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's
green
crispy,
onions.
covered in mayo. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like you'd like it.
But the insides too. Like I feel like they're just usually not seasoned the way I would like. But these were they were pretty perfect. They were great.
Nice. So I went to dinner and I got some pizza. It was nice. There was a place that just happened to have like authentic Italian pizza. So their margarita pizza just didn't have cheese on it. And it was really good. It was like a stone-fired pizza oven.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Japan's famous for their stone-fired pizza.
Matsumoto is now.
What do you mean now? Now that you said that on the podcast?
Yeah. Now that people have eaten at that place, it's that good.
Okay.
So what'd you do after dinner, Jason?
So after dinner, I headed over to the castle to get some night pictures.
Without me a second time.
Well, I figured you already got your night pictures, so...
So we have to be even now, right?
I don't feel like this was anything against you, because you'd already experienced this. Why would you want to do it again? And especially considering that the water wasn't even still. Look how horrible the reflection is in these pictures. It's just...
Because Matsumoto Castle is gorgeous and peaceful?
Well, I don't know what you did after dinner. What did you do?
I went back to the hotel.
Well, you had the option to walk to the castle if you felt like it.
Just like you did the first night, huh?
But see, these are different situations, Paul. I had not seen the castle yet. I'm just going to see a thing that you already saw. Like, why would I expect that you would want to do that again?
Sure.
And that was the end of day 16.
So day 17, I think we were both really looking forward to this. Maybe even you more than me.
Yeah, I was almost surprised that you didn't just go without me, because I know that that's kind of your thing, you know?
Come on. Everything on the itinerary, I did with you.
What are you talking about? The castle wasn't on our itinerary?
Not that night and not seeing it at night.
Okay, so you think you can just add things to the itinerary on your own without inviting me on those things?
Yes.
I see. Anyway, this was our day to visit the Daio Wasabi farm. Oh, dude, this was such a great day.
Yeah. We got up there nice and early, and we took a train to a nearby town. I think it's technically north of Matsumoto.
Yeah, it's not Matsumoto anymore. We went to Hotaka Station in Azumino, and right across from the station, there's a shop that rents bikes. So we got a couple bikes. We chose the electric ones so we could make it especially leisurely.
It was nice.
They were very trusting. They didn't take anything from us. They just gave us these bikes and said, here you go, have fun.
Yeah. Go back when you're done. They gave us a map, too, and kind of showed us the best bike route there and back. They gave us a different route back so we could like see some more of the surrounding area.
They even clipped the map onto your bike.
Yeah, they were
so
great.
Nice.
They were great.
Couldn't have been more accommodating.
The bike ride was great.
A bike ride was, I got to get away from amazing, incredible, but it was really both of those things. We're in rural Japan. We're biking right past this farmland with the mountains in the distance. And Paul, I was kind of filming you from behind for a second there, so I ended up maybe 100 feet behind you for a while as we were biking along this road.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this incredible experience. There's the incredible again. I wish you could have experienced this with me. So there was like this massive bird of prey hovering over one of these fields. And as I'm biking along, this bird, its wingspan must have been at least like 4 or 5 feet. It comes in real low and it starts coming in my direction. And it got within like 4 feet of me. Like I could have just reached up and almost touched it. It was amazing. And just hearing, the birds and the crickets and looking around at all the beauty and having this bird just following me along on the bike, it was magical.
You were like a wizard out there.
Yeah. That was one of those just perfect moments, Like before I was talking about that perfect moment on the Kumano Kodo real early in the morning. This was another one of those where I was just elated that I got to experience that.
We were racking up these types of experiences on
Yeah.
this trip.
Yeah, man.
I had the perfect experience minus the eagle. It was still pretty cool.
It was so cool. So then we got to the Wasabi farm. We locked up our bikes. Paul went to the bathroom, and I headed over to the water wheels. They have these water wheels there that they built for period dramas, right?
Yeah, I think they built them for
Or a movie.
a Kurosawa film, was it even?
Oh, yeah, I think that's right. A Kurosawa film.
So they don't really do anything. They spin, but they're not actually serving any function. They just look old-timey and cool.
They do look pretty old-timey and cool. And it was really peaceful. Like, we got there early enough that there weren't too many people yet. It was pretty quiet, and we got to kind of explore the wasabi fields.
Yeah, that was cool. Seeing how they actually grow it.
Yeah. So we did an episode about wasabi, and we learned at that point that it's the single most difficult plant in the world to cultivate commercially because it needs extremely specific conditions. Like, it can't go outside of a very narrow temperature range, and it needs to be watered with fresh spring water with the perfect balance of minerals in there, and it needs to be constantly moving. The water can't even stay still. So these fields are really amazing. It's like these long rows of plants kind of in this rocky, pebbly soil, because they normally would grow like on the sides of mountains, basically. And then they have these little streams of spring water kind of snaking back and forth through all of these plants.
Yeah, it looks like just a big shallow river with a bunch of stuff growing out of it. And they had tarps up above all of them because the sunlight, can't have too much sunlight, so the tarps go on and off. These plants need so much attention.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But it was fun exploring the farm. And there's some bridges you can cross over the fields on.
Yeah, there were a surprising number of walking trails around the farm. We didn't even explore every single little path. And there are little temples and shrines scattered around too.
There was a number of the randomest statues.
Yeah, that's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was most excited about at the wasabi farm was eating all the wasabi food.
Right?
So I got a wasabi frankfurter. I got a wasabi croquette. I got a wasabi beer, which honestly, a little disappointing. It didn't taste a ton like wasabi.
Yeah.
There were kind of some wasabi bits in the very bottom, and you got the taste a little bit down there. But maybe my expectations were too high. Like in the wasabi episode, we talked about how if you want to get the heat from real wasabi, you have to grate it and then eat it like in the next 5 minutes. Like a lot of this wasabi flavored stuff, it wasn't spicy. It just tastes like the wasabi plant, which is different than what you might think of
True.
if you're thinking of eating the
True.
green stuff with sushi or whatever.
It kind of looks like St. Patrick's Day dyed green beer.
Yeah, yeah. The wasabi ice cream was really good, though, because I made sure to get the special premium ice cream, which came with an actual dab of freshly ground wasabi right on the side of it. So you actually did get the spiciness with the ice cream. That was really cool. And I kind of feel like you could get a very similar experience yourself at home if you wanted to. Just buy a tube of wasabi and stick some of that on the side of a vanilla ice cream cone, because the ice cream itself, again, it was green and it has wasabi in there, but the flavor was so slight and kind of overpowered by the sweetness of the ice cream.
Yeah, you were getting the flavor from the actual wasabi.
Yeah. But it was cool. The contrast of the spiciness with the cool, sweet creaminess of the ice cream is good. Really good.
I got some wasabi steam buns, or there were steam buns filled with vegetables flavored with wasabi. And they were really good. It did have some heat to it, and the veggies were great. I really enjoyed them.
I feel like we should mention, just in case if you haven't heard our wasabi episode, we should point out that if you've had wasabi with sushi in the US, you've probably never had real wasabi. The stuff that they give you at most sushi restaurants is just like this horseradish mixture that's made to kind of taste sort of similar to wasabi. But real wasabi, since it's so hard to cultivate, it's extremely expensive. And that heat goes away, like it dissipates really quickly after you grate it. So most restaurants don't serve real wasabi. But it was really, that's part of the reason I was so excited about this place is like all of their wasabi food has real wasabi in it.
Yeah, as fresh as possible. Yeah, I'd say if they don't grind the wasabi in front of you and immediately give it to you, it's probably not real wasabi.
Yeah. I actually got a chance to eat a whole lot of real wasabi on this trip, which I found very exciting. I'll talk about that later in this episode, actually. There was another place where I ate a whole bunch of real wasabi, and it really is different. It's like the heat, I think it's coming from the same chemical as in the fake wasabi. So like the heat sensation is similar, and there's some tiny part of the flavor that's the same, but real wasabi has all of this other stuff added on to the flavor. It's just much more, there's more depth to the flavor. It's hard to describe.
Yes. I'd say the heat is similar, but not as immediate blow you away. And with the fake stuff, that's all you get. It's over after that. The wasabi actually has flavor that lasts after the heat.
Yeah. The gift shop at the wasabi farm was, of course, awesome. Oh, I forgot to mention my wasabi soda. The wasabi soda was maybe even better than the wasabi beer. That tasted a little more like wasabi. It was very tasty. Okay, so the gift shop. I got some wasabi lip balm.
How was that?
I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
I'll make sure to report back. I got some wasabi salami. I got a little wasabi cream sandwich. Oh, Paul, I'm still mourning the loss of my wasabi miso.
Oh,
I got a jar of wasabi miso.
That's the one that got confiscated.
Took it away at the airport when I was leaving Japan. But here's how I'm justifying it to myself, making myself feel better. I think that jar distracted them from these 3 other packs I had of miso pickles and some kimchi, which I'm like 99% sure I wasn't supposed to have. I Googled it later. I should have Googled it earlier, but I found out later, like, you're not supposed to have any pickled stuff in your carry-on.
That's interesting.
So I did get to keep those 3 packs. And I think maybe if I didn't have the wasabi miso, maybe they would have grabbed all 3 of those. So
Okay. All right. They only got 1 of the 4. Not too bad.
I was so nervous. I saw her like going through my bag and she just pushes those 3 aside because they were wrapped up in a plastic bag. She couldn't see what they were. I was like, yeah, don't look in there. Did you get anything you got something at the gift shop?
I got a wasabi salt seasoning that I haven't tried yet, but I was thinking of making some stir fry this week. So maybe I'll use that.
I'm curious. Let me know how that goes.
Yeah. So you were looking forward to Daio Wasabi Farm. Did it meet your expectations?
Absolutely. It was everything I hoped it would be. I loved it. And the bike ride back was really nice too. We took the path that the bike rental people had recommended, and we got to go past some more wasabi fields. Oh man, that whole experience, biking there, being there, biking back, it was perfect. I loved it so much.
So since you're already mad at me, Jason, I've got another confession here.
What is
for
it?
you.
Oh no, what's happening now?
So on our way back from the wasabi farm, I had looked up directions, and there was only 1 train going back to Matsumoto every hour. And there was still a bunch of stuff I wanted to see in Matsumoto, and this was our last day. So I was kind of like, dude, we got to get going or we're going to be here another hour. And so we were going, and I was like, let's just take the quick way back. And you were like, no, let's follow the path and see the cool stuff. So we did. I was leading the way, and I went down the path they told us to take. And we went by all the cool fields and stuff. But when we got back to the city, the path they had in there had me going like north a little bit through the city and then like back to the bus stop. And once we got to the city, I just cut left and went straight to the bus stop, or the train stop, I should say. I have 0 regrets because it was just the city at that point. And we made the train by 2 minutes, or we would have had to be there an extra hour.
Yeah, see, Paul has no regrets, no matter how much he betrays me. He just doesn't care. He has no feelings at all. I'm starting to think you're...
I made the best choice for both of us.
You don't get to just take that responsibility and make decisions for me. I knew I never should have let you be in charge of the map. On the way back, we passed all these places. I kept seeing like other wasabi stores and stuff that I totally would have wanted to stop at. And you're like, oh, we got to go to the train station. Unbelievable. Maybe I'll just do my next trip solo.
Irreconcilable differences.
I need to process this, Paul.
That
We need
was
to take a break.
that was the last time on the trip I lied to you.
I think that's a lie. I know you too well at this point, Paul.
Oh, what? No.
You
I have
lie to
nothing
me
else. I have
on a
nothing
whim.
else.
You lie to me when it means nothing. You could easily just tell the truth, and you're just like, you know what? I don't care about Jason one bit.
I mean, it's true that I'm a fan of white lies. I'm a white liar.
He doesn't white lie to save people's feelings. He white lies for fun.
That's not a white lie.
Whatever.
We missed nothing cool.
I don't think you can say that because you don't know what we missed because we didn't stop there.
Just city.
Anyway, so we went back to Matsumoto, and then we tried to go back to the castle, right?
We did go back to the castle.
To see how long the wait was. And who had a great idea, Paul?
It was a 0-minute wait time. Now
Yeah.
that we were on a Tuesday and it wasn't a holiday.
It was perfect.
So that was a great idea. We
Yeah.
got into the castle right away.
And I didn't even have to lie to Paul or anything. So we got into the castle. We took more pictures of the outside. I don't know. I feel like most castles, you can get kind of right up to the keep, and then you give them your ticket to get inside the keep. But this one, it's like you give them your ticket to get inside kind of this garden area right outside the keep, and you kind of get a very different view of the castle from there.
Yeah, you get a nice close-up view without any trees or anything in your way. In the keep itself was a ton of firearms.
Oh,
Like,
they tell you that it's going to take 50 minutes to get all the way through the keep, which I thought, like, how could that possibly be?
It was correct.
It really did take that long.
It
because,
was slow in there. It was like single file, just moving real slow.
yeah. And since this is an original castle, you're kind of winding through these pretty narrow wooden hallways. And it's just kind of this whole line of people snaking through the castle up to the top and then back down. But fortunately, through the entire thing, as you're waiting in this really long line, there are all these pretty interesting exhibits, like little cases on the side with old guns and swords and armor and whatnot.
Yep. I think it was the stairs that slowed everyone down. The stairs were very steep and narrow.
Yeah.
And there was one person going up and one person going down at the same time. A lot of people were having trouble and going really slowly. And, it was, 6 stories inside, I think? So there were a lot of stairs you had to get up.
Yeah, stairs were pretty steep. That always kind of blows my mind when you're in these original castles, just thinking about armed soldiers wearing heavy armor trying to climb up these stairs.
Yeah, good luck.
Crazy.
Good luck. Was a little disappointing at the top because it was all closed in and the windows had they weren't
kind of
open.
chicken wire.
Yeah, it was
over
kind of
them.
like chicken wire over them. So
And
you
really
didn't
Weren't
get
they really
great
small
views.
windows? You had to kind of get on your knees
Yeah.
and stick your phone up there.
Yeah, if you got your phone right up into the chicken wire, you could get a picture.
So I did that, of course.
Yeah.
Got to get my pictures. This was the castle where right at the very top, there's a little mini shrine up in the ceiling. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was.
There was some legend that explained why there was a shrine up in the top of the castle. It was supposed to protect the castle or something.
Yeah.
Here it is. The small shrine located inside the roof of the Great Keep is dedicated to the deity Nijuroku Yashin, or deity of the 26th night. Nijuroku Yashin is said to serve as guardian of the castle. There's this whole legend about it. That was kind of interesting. I've never seen that kind of thing in a castle.
Yeah, another local legend. But yeah, on the way down, you got filtered through the newer moon viewing wing, which was kind of cool. That one was built with a little porch you could go outside on, although they wouldn't let us go outside.
Yeah, that was cool. That was built by Lord Naomasa Matsudaira, who was a grandson of Tokugawa Ieyasu. Probably know that name.
Nice connection there.
Yeah. There are only 2 castles that have a moon viewing wing, Okayama Castle and this one, Matsumoto Castle.
Ooh.
Got some more pretty pictures. Then we headed over to the Timepiece Museum, which I was very excited to see, and then very disappointed to not be able to see, because this was one of the places that was closed because it was a Tuesday after a national holiday. I don't know why that means everything needs to be closed.
My guess on that is they're normally closed Monday, and it was a national holiday, so they wanted to give an extra day off. Like you're supposed to get an extra day off when there's a national holiday.
Sure, I guess.
But yeah, it kind of sucked. I was really looking forward to that. That seemed like such a cool place.
Me too. Another place we were both, I think, really looking forward to is the Matsumoto City Museum of Art, which was closed for the exact same reason.
They at least had a really cool sculpture outside the front we got to see.
That's true. But we did manage to find one place that I was very excited to see that was open. That's Ishii Miso. We got there just a little bit too late for a tour they did of their miso warehouse where they make the miso, so that was kind of disappointing. But I did get to eat some miso ice cream, and it was delicious.
Nice.
Oh, I was so excited. Because as I was saying with the wasabi ice cream, like I feel like a lot of the flavored ice creams in Japan, the flavor isn't very intense, but this one very clearly tasted like miso, and it worked so well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And this is where I got those miso pickles I was talking about. I got some pickled cucumbers and pickled ginger.
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't take those from you.
I know.
Those
look how
look
liquidy
so
they are.
suspect.
You should have said something. You were the one
Those
that
look like
convinced me.
plastic explosive or something.
You convinced me to get that wasabi miso in the first place. You're like, it's a paste. They know what miso is. They know it's not liquid.
Yeah, they know what miso is. I'm surprised they took it from you. I didn't realize fermented things were not allowed.
Yeah. That was a cool place. I mean, even though we didn't get to see the tour, the gift shop was pretty fun to take a look around.
Yeah.
Did you get anything there?
Yeah, I got a tea ceremony snack. It was rice
Oh, you ate those.
rice flour on the outside, almost kind of like a cookie. And then I can't remember if it was bean paste with miso in the middle or something.
I think it was bean paste. Because you sat down across from me and ate that while I was eating my miso ice cream.
Yeah. Yep.
After the miso, we headed over to Agatanomori Park, which is kind of a little bit of a walk from the other touristy stuff in the city. I think probably most tourists don't really get out here.
But it was, what's the words we've already used a million times? Beautiful, gorgeous. There were some really nice fall colors here. There's a pond here.
I was actually really impressed by this park. Like, this was kind of Paul's idea. I wasn't super excited about this park, but when we got there, I mean, there were the fall colors. That really helped. And then, yeah, they had this just really nicely landscaped little area with a pavilion and a bridge.
Yeah, just a really nice city park. There was also a sidewalk lined with cedars. That was kind of cool.
It was a very good park. We don't have parks this good anywhere around here.
But part of why I want to go here is that there's a preserved early 1900s high school that has a remade principal's office and classroom 1-1. But it was closed because it was a Tuesday after a national holiday. But we still got to walk all around the building and everything, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, really would have been nice to look inside, though. There was another school that we also wanted to see. The former Kaichi School is a historic school on the north end of downtown. And that was also closed. That's being renovated for earthquake stuff, right?
Yeah, that was like a long-term renovation. I think it's down for a while.
Right. But yeah, it was a bummer. We really missed out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that
Matsumoto.
makes 4 of the cool things we wanted to see that we didn't get into.
Paul, should we go back to Matsumoto and see all the stuff we missed and go to Daio Wasabi Farm again?
Yeah.
I think we should do that.
Yeah, there was some other stuff, too, on the further out in the city that we didn't make it to.
Yeah, I bet we could easily do a couple more days there. And it's like not that hard to get there from Tokyo. We could just shoot up there and then back down to Tokyo if we wanted to.
Yeah, I kind of want to go to the Sea of Japan coast, too. We could almost stop at Matsumoto on the way.
Yeah, go up to Nagano.
Ooh, yeah, I haven't been there. Yeah, I loved Matsumoto. I was very happy.
Me too. I had eel for dinner and some natto and some soup at a restaurant right around the corner from our hotel. And then, Paul, we made up and went to Matsumoto Castle together at night, right?
We did. It was unfortunately windy again.
The water wasn't perfectly still. I got some better pictures than I did the first time.
So we both got to see it twice at night. and it's awesome.
It really is.
It lives up to its reputation.
Even without the reflection in the moat, it's a really pretty castle.
Yeah, the view with the red bridge is really nice too. The fact that the moat is wider, I think, gives a really nice view that you can actually see the water. A lot of castles just have a shorter or a narrower, steeper moat.
Yeah. It's great looking.
Yeah.
So that was the end of day 17. Day 18, we took a train back to Tokyo. Did we drop off our bags? Yeah, that's what we did. We went to our hotel in Shibuya, dropped off our bags, and then went straight back to Shibuya Station to head out to Omiya.
Yep.
I saw a brand new Nissan Fairlady Z.
It's a nice looking car.
Oh, gorgeous. I'd never seen one in the US. I'd only seen pictures. So to see one in person was really cool. I want one of those, man. Anyway,
Omiya is famous for bonsai.
oh man, there's the side shot of the Z. Oh, it's so good looking. Oh,
So we went to the Omiya Bonsai Museum, and they had closed, like 3 days earlier for a garden remodel. They were going to be closed all winter.
was it 3 days? It wasn't just like, I
was
feel like it was the day before.
It was very close. But that was our first day in Tokyo. I mean, that was the first day we could have gone. It was nothing we could do about that.
Man, now that I'm thinking about it and we're listing them all off, we really missed a lot of stuff that was just closed randomly.
And it was all the things we missed were 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
We kind of just got hit at the end there.
That was unlucky.
But we did get lucky in that there's a bunch of bonsai nurseries in the area.
Yeah, they call it the Bonsai Village. It's this whole neighborhood. And they gave us a pamphlet. Actually, when we were at the museum that was closed, there was a woman just happened to be coming out and had these pamphlets and gave us some information and a map of the surrounding area. And it talked about the Bonsai Village, which is basically this neighborhood that had a bunch of rules. Well, let me back up. So there are all these famous bonsai masters in Tokyo. And then they all moved to Omiya after the Great Kanto earthquake in 1923, right, Paul?
Yeah.
And then they basically formed this little bonsai organization, neighborhood thing, where they made all these rules. Like if you're going to live in this neighborhood, you have to have a certain number of bonsai trees. You have to have your nursery open to the public so people can look at your bonsai trees. There's some other requirements. But basically what it means is these days, you can just walk around this neighborhood and see some of the most incredible bonsai collections in the world. It absolutely blew my mind. I can't be emphatic enough about this. There are no words strong enough to describe this experience. I've seen so many bonsai, but the ones that I saw here, I mean, I could just pick out 5 of them that made my head just literally explode. There were brains everywhere. You wouldn't believe it. It was disgusting. But then just the sheer number of bonsai trees too. Hundreds and hundreds of these absolutely incredible bonsai trees. Am I going too far, Paul? Is that too extreme?
No, it blew me away. I knew there were these places, but I didn't expect them to be like this because they don't allow pictures. You don't see pictures of them. And then we walk in the first one and there's 200 plus bonsai just slammed in everywhere. Big bonsai, small bonsai, all the different styles, different plants.
Yeah, every style you can imagine.
Beyond my expectations, for sure.
Combinations of all these different techniques. If you listen to our bonsai episode, you know that there are so many different techniques they can use to make these trees look old and like they're barely hanging on to life. There are ones that are growing out of rocks. There are ones that are hanging down underneath the pot. There are ones that are like woven intertwined with dead wood, like half the wood is dead, half the wood is alive. And they had all these different combinations of these techniques. It was insane.
Yeah, it was so cool.
I've seen a lot of bonsai trees, but I couldn't take it. There was too much of it. It was too amazing. This can't possibly exist.
I'm kind of glad you couldn't take pictures because I don't know if we would have made it to the podcast meetup.
I would have been there forever. It's good. That's a good rule.
Yeah, yeah. Got to go there yourself to see them, but it's totally worth it.
Totally worth it.
So we had a little kombini lunch, and then we headed to the Railway Museum.
That's what they call it, right? It's just the Railway Museum.
So this place is huge and got a ton of different types of trains, from old to new, everything in between.
You got to see inside the trains. You got to see underneath the trains. They had the Imperial carriage. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
See how the Imperial family travels.
Yeah.
Or traveled, anyway.
Yeah, it was an older one.
Yeah, a lot of really cool trains. Got a picture of Paul next to this massive double-decker train.
I look so small.
Yeah, your little itty-bitty Paul.
It was pretty cool. There was a ton of kids-themed stuff here. Definitely geared towards the kids.
And there was almost zero English, right?
Yeah.
They had another diorama, just like the other railway museum we visited.
Yeah, they had almost like a theater room with like stadium seating you
Yeah.
could go into to watch this diorama of trains. So this museum was good. I was tired and a little bit hungry, so I don't know if I got the full enjoyment out of it. So I don't want to be too down on it. It was pretty cool.
It was cool, but like I said, very little English. That kind of detracted from the experience a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like I enjoyed the other railway museum more.
Yeah, the Maglev one I think was a little bit cooler.
Yeah. That night, I had dinner at a ramen place in the Shibuya Parco, which was like right across the street from where we were staying.
Yeah, that
That's
was
pretty
cool.
convenient.
I had a little falafel sandwich for dinner.
Nice. Then I think we hung out in the hotel room and made ourselves pretty for the podcast meetup.
I did what I could.
You were gorgeous, Paul.
Aw, thanks. Yeah, the meetup was fantastic.
It was so much fun.
We met at a rooftop bar at Shibuya Parco, so that was really nice.
Yeah.
Got to meet some really cool listeners. Everyone there. I got to talk to everyone at least a little bit, which was nice. Everyone was really cool and really nice and friendly.
Definitely. I wish we had more time. That was so much fun. I wish I had just more time to talk to everybody and get to know more about them.
And we closed down the bar again, just like we did at the last meetup.
Yep. But maybe about half of the people that came were still down for karaoke after that. So we headed over to Rainbow Karaoke around the corner.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was super fun. We got to fit in more karaoke. Maybe we should do more like karaoke meetups in future trips.
Oh, that might be fun.
I think so.
Although it's harder to talk.
That's true.
Like, you gotta get to know each other first.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe we schedule it at a time where you can get kind of that like bulk rate thing where you just rent out the room for a certain number of hours for a flat rate. And we can do half the time to just like chill and talk and then half the time to sing. Something
Just
like that.
rent out a room all day on like a Tuesday.
Yes.
Like 9 a.m. to midnight or something.
We're all on vacation. Nobody has anywhere else to be.
Yeah. I think we spend, not that there's not karaoke places around, but we don't spend a lot of time in the big cities always anymore.
Yeah. But
But
if
yeah,
we
that
scheduled
was-
meetups, we could spend more time in, some big city somewhere. I don't know.
True.
You always got to start and end in Tokyo anyway.
So we weren't even quite done then, right?
Yeah. The numbers started dwindling. People had to get to sleep and get to other places. But one of the people that came to the meetup was still down to party. So we went and just kind of wandered around Shibuya looking for some other interesting place. And we headed down this alley that looked really interesting. Oh, it was right by Miyashita Park. They have a bunch of restaurants with outdoor seating, but they were closing up when we headed past there. We ended up finding a place, I think it was called the Music Bar, right?
Yep.
Very cool bar.
It was great.
Really cool vibe. Like lights were low. They had these big leather couches. And next to the bar on either side were these massive speakers. Were they like 8-foot tall speakers?
Yeah, they were huge.
They were ginormous. And they were playing really great music. And the cocktails too. They had like classic cocktails made perfectly. Stuff that I feel like you very rarely see on a cocktail menu. Sazeracs and the Clover
Yeah.
Club, like really classic cocktails.
And just made perfectly.
I got one of their original cocktails, and that was ridiculously good. It was mezcal and hazelnut and Japanese citrus, And they even had a smoke bubble that they put on top of the glass. It was crazy.
Those were cool, the smoke bubbles, man.
Yeah.
I got a mojito, which is kind of a simple drink, but most people don't do it justice. And they made it perfect. They must have muddled the mint in there with the rum. Like, it was good.
They were perfect cocktails. I mean, I have high standards when it comes to cocktails, but these were really, really well done.
Yeah, we were comfy on the couches, drinking great cocktails. The music was awesome. It was such a cool place.
We got complimentary boar jerky. That was unexpected.
Yeah, true. They're like, house specialty. Try some of our boar jerky.
Yeah.
I did not.
It was a really great night. I hope we can plan more nights like that on future trips.
Yeah, I'd go back to the music bar again.
So that was the end of day 18. So the next day, we kind of slept in a bit, of course. Last night went pretty late. So we took our time. I think I got up before Paul and headed over to Shibuya Parco again to go to the Nintendo floor. This is a really interesting mall. Like, it's a pretty fun place to just wander through each of the floors. And one of the floors has a bunch of Nintendo goods and other anime and video game type stuff. And then, Paul, you went there right after me, right?
No, I went and got a donut for breakfast at a local vegan restaurant. And then I texted you and you said you were already leaving. So I didn't go to the mall.
Okay.
So we met up and then we went out to Mount Takao.
Yeah. So this is a mountain just west of Tokyo. It takes a little less than an hour to get there by train. And I had this on my list for a bunch of previous trips.
For so long.
Because it's like, I was thinking this would be a good thing to do in those last couple days in Tokyo before you leave. But for some reason, I don't know, on past trips it either rained or I didn't have the motivation to just get out there.
You were too busy buying denim.
Or just laying depressed at the hotel thinking about the fact that I was leaving so soon. I don't know. But this was pretty cool. So you get to the train station, Takao Guchi Station, I think it's called. And you take a cable car thing. Well, you don't have to. You can just start hiking from the bottom, right, Paul?
Oh, yeah.
There are tons of hiking trails on this mountain. Again, kind of got something for everyone. If you wanted to take it easy, like we were kind of feeling, you can take the cable car up there and just walk along this paved trail. Or if you really want to get out into nature and make it a whole day strenuous hike, you can do that too.
Yep. From the top of the cable car, it's about a 40-minute walk to the peak.
And even at the top of the cable car, you get some pretty nice views. Like if you really didn't want to do any work, you could just go up there, take a look around, eat some good food.
Yeah. They have a ton of stuff up there. They have restaurants, gift shops. There's a temple and a shrine that you pass. This mountain's known for its tengu.
I was really excited about the tengu. We did a Halloween special where we talked about tengu. They're those mythological beings with... They showed up in a lot of different ways throughout Japanese history. These days, you most often see them with a really long red nose.
And
but in the
often
past...
wings.
Yeah, because in the past, they were more like anthropomorphized birds. And even on this mountain, we saw a lot of statues of tengu with bird beaks instead of the long nose.
Yeah. Yeah, the statues of the tengu were really cool.
Yeah, you see them all over the place. You can buy tengu souvenirs. I was hoping to get something. I didn't really find anything that spoke to me.
Yeah.
But
the shrine up here was really ornate, too. In need of a little bit of a paint job, but the carving was really nice.
Yeah. And when we got to the top, there's a really amazing view of Tokyo. I mean,
yeah,
you can see really far from the top.
You're way on the outskirts of Tokyo, and you can see all the way back into downtown. It's really cool.
And then there's this one viewpoint where you're kind of looking in another direction, just off into the mountains. And we got really lucky. We saw these god rays.
These beautiful rays of light poking through all the clouds. It was nice.
Yeah, it was maybe magical is becoming the new word that I'm going to overuse, but it was pretty magical. So we kind of rushed our way up to the top and then took our time on the way back to stop and look at all the other sites on the mountain, like the temple
Yeah.
and all the Tengu stuff.
Yeah. It's a popular place, too. There were a lot of people out there hiking
Yeah, definitely.
on a Wednesday or whatever this was.
It wasn't as crazy busy as Kamikochi, though.
No, but it was good to see it get used.
Man, these Tengu all look so angry.
Yeah, they're
They're
fighting
They're
Tengu.
fearsome creatures.
They are, yeah. They haven't been kawaii'd yet.
Oh, they're definitely kawaii Tengu.
Just not on this mountain yet.
Well, in some of the gift shops, they had some pretty kawaii little Tengu plushie kind of things. Yeah, that was a really fun day. Pretty relaxed. There were some things I wanted to try. I had read about Tengu Yaki and Tororo Soba, which are both kind of local specialty things around Mount Takao. Maybe that's another thing we can visit again on a future trip. I feel like we could still get more out of that mountain, you know? Do one of the more naturey hikes.
I mean, it's part of the ring of trails that go all the way around Kanto, so I mean, we could hike forever from there.
Yeah. So we got a train back to Tokyo and headed back to the Shibuya Parco for dinner.
Yeah, we went to the basement.
Yeah, they have like the 7th floor and then the basement are both kind of food court areas. And I found this ramen place that had a vegan ramen, but they also had non-vegan ramen. So Paul and I ate together, and I think I speak for both of us when I say it was really delicious.
It was. I got the spicy vegan ramen. So good.
So I guess that's the end of day 19.
So next was day 20 of your vacation, last day of my vacation, which was day 15 maybe. I wasn't really counting. But oh man, I was feeling it. I was sad to go. I wanted to keep doing fun Japan stuff. So slept in a little bit. And we left our hotel and split up right away in the morning. Honestly, I don't think I've talked to you about this yet. I didn't have a great day. I did not make the most of it.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. I was tired. I was kind of depressed that I was going home.
I feel like it's tough to get the most out of your last day because you're always thinking like, oh, I really got to get to the airport in time.
Yeah. We had to check out of our hotel by 10. And I was like, 10, that's when the donut place opens and I can go get a donut and an energy drink and kind of relax for a minute before I go do something. And then I got there and I realized, oh no, I screwed up. It opens at 11. So I had an hour to kill. So I walked around looking at shops and then I went and got my donut. And then I went to Meiji Jingu because I'd never been there before and I wanted to see it.
What'd you think?
I was just not impressed. I think it was mostly because of my mood, but also like, I think we've talked about this before. We've both seen so many shrines and temples that, you know, it's kind of got to be cool or unique to impress me a little bit at this point. And it's a big shrine, but there was nothing about it that I thought I hadn't seen before.
I can understand that for sure.
The coolest part was like the long walkway up surrounded by trees.
Yeah, it's got this giant park garden sort of thing around it.
Yep. I went to the
nice.
garden there and that was okay. It wasn't really like a traditional landscape garden. It was really big and had a bunch of different stuff, but nothing was really in bloom or turning color while I was there. So I did that and then I went to the airport. Or I stopped for get a burger. I got a burger for lunch. And then I went to the airport and flew home.
Sad.
Yep, that was it for me. The flight went okay, at least. I survived. So how about you, Jason? You had more fun, I'm guessing.
Well, I was very sad to say goodbye to my good friend Paul, but I did have a few more things to look forward to before the end of my trip. So I decided to head over to Hakone for the last couple days. I passed through Odawara and headed up to Hakone Yumoto Station, which is pretty close to where I was staying that night. And I spent a bit of time just kind of walking around that area. It's really touristy, the street just like west of Hakone Yumoto Station. Lots of street food, lots of gift shops, lots of restaurants, and lots of people. Hakone was very busy.
I suppose it's not too surprising. I feel like I hear a ton of people have that on their itinerary.
This is also a Saturday, so I'm sure that didn't help.
Were there a lot of Japanese people there? Or was it mostly foreign tourists?
Sorry, this is actually a Friday. I think there were a mix. I think it was a lot of Japanese tourists and a lot of foreign tourists.
Okay.
But I got some really great street food. They had these black sesame dango. They're like these little dumpling balls on a stick. So I got the black sesame ones with walnut sweet miso.
Ooh.
It was really good. It was real good. And then, Paul, do you know what that is?
Is that uni?
That's uni on top. You know what it's sitting on?
A vegetable?
It's abalone.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd heard a lot about abalone. I'd never actually tasted it before. And there was a little place selling it just on the street. You could get all sorts of things on skewers, but
Is that like a white fish?
it's a shellfish.
Oh, it's a shellfish. I didn't know that.
Abalone are a genus of marine gastropod mollusks.
Snails.
I guess they're sort of snails. They don't look like what I imagine when I think snail. It's a shellfish.
It is.
It's a gastropod, those things. I don't know. It was really tasty. And it was really fresh.
That uni
great
looked
uni on
nice
top.
and slimy and fresh.
Yes. I talked about that. Maybe I don't think I did actually talk about it. There was a bento I got earlier in the trip with really crumbly, dry, horrible uni. It was the worst uni I'd ever seen in my life. But after that, I took every opportunity I found to get some really good uni. And this stuff was amazing. So like I said, I walked up and down the street and kind of poked around and took a look at things.
That river looks beautiful.
Yeah, really just past that really touristy street, I started walking over to the ryokan that I was staying at, and all of a sudden there was like nobody on the street. It's kind of funny how that happens. I feel like most tourist places, like if you just go a few streets away from the touristy area that's packed with people, all of a sudden there's no people at all.
Yeah, that's definitely how it goes.
But I found a lot of interesting stuff. I had some time to kill before I could check in at the ryokan. So I was really just taking my time winding around through these little side alleys and random stairs I found. And I found myself on top of the town and got some interesting pictures from up above.
Nice.
And then I came across this big bridge I had to cross. It's just a footbridge. I mean, a single car can drive across that too, but a bridge to get over to the ryokan. And I don't remember if I really talked much about this before on the podcast, but for this part of the trip, I really decided to splurge. Like with the exchange rate being so good and life being so short, I thought, well, let me just spend an obscene amount of money to stay at a really, really fancy traditional Japanese inn. So I stayed at a place called Yama no Chaya in Hakone. I got this room to myself that is probably mostly used by people on their honeymoon or something.
The honeymoon suite all to yourself.
I got 2 beds, which was funny. It was actually a 2-level room. So downstairs, I had kind of my tatami living room, and then a sitting room attached to that, and then a balcony with more chairs outside that. And then connected to the balcony, and you could get there through the entryway, I had a private onsen that opened up to the outside. That was amazing.
That's awesome.
And then I had stairs going up to the bedroom with 2 beds, like I said. And then from there were these doors that opened up out onto my private moon viewing platform. So I went out there and took some pictures of the moon. And, there's the moon viewing platform, Paul.
Looks nice. Comfy chairs.
Yeah. There's my little outdoor thing downstairs. There's the bedroom. There's the bathroom. Oh, Paul, this toilet was crazy, man. It was one of those real fancy ones that opens for you. Like it's got the motion sensor. I didn't even need to touch the thing,
It's like, good morning, Jason.
Yeah, welcome.
You're looking good today. Please deposit your...
Show me that butt. Oh, it even had a tokonoma. Check it out, Paul. So they had this scroll and fresh flowers.
Nice.
Those are real flowers down there.
Yeah.
they changed the flowers for the next day.
Oh, man. You were definitely at the classy place.
I should have taken another picture. Maybe I did. Maybe there's a picture of the next day. Maybe they even changed the scroll. I don't know. How do I look, Paul? They gave me a yukata to wear.
Oh, that's a good look for you.
Thanks. So as soon as I got there, they told me, hey, so there's this, I mean, you have your private onsen in your room, but there's also another outdoor private onsen that you can reserve if you'd like. So I didn't want to pass that chance up. So I went and hung out in another private onsen that was very pretty. And then when I came back to my room, I also hung out at the bar for a while. They had a massive list of sake and shochu and whiskey. And I wanted to drink all of it, but
oh, man, you were in
limited
heaven.
time. Yeah, it was great. And then I had my kaiseki dinner. So kaiseki is a style of meal that's extremely elaborate, several courses, really traditional style. I think a lot of Westerners are not used to this type of meal. Like, it's a very Japanese flavors. And I remember reading through the reviews, and some people are just like, we sent back 6 of the courses because we just couldn't do it. And
you got to know what you're getting yourself into with the traditional kaiseki. It's going to be fish. It's going to be seafood. It's going to be pickles and
just
miso.
Lots of soy and koji and just traditional stuff. And I don't know. I'm used to Japanese flavors enough that I enjoyed every single thing they put in front of me, Paul. It was so good. But I can definitely understand how somebody who's not used to that type of food would just be like, I can't eat this, I think I even read about a couple that sent everything back, and then in the morning they just gave them an American style breakfast. They didn't even bother,
Here's some waffles and orange juice.
But I took pictures of every single course of this meal.
You tell that was made with care.
Yeah, so there's scallops in this little soup, and then that's an edible flour on top. That's yam tofu with real wasabi. There was so much wasabi in this meal, and I could tell by the texture and the flavor that it was all real and 100% freshly grated.
Looks real.
Yeah. There's a little grilled mochi. Like, they bring you out a piece of mochi and a little mini grill that they light a candle in, and then you can toast your own mochi. It's so elaborate. And I wrap that in seaweed. There's another soup with a fish, and I don't remember what that other thing is. And there were some veggies. Then there was a sashimi course. They even frothed the soy sauce, Paul. I don't think I'd ever seen that before.
I've never seen that.
It's kind of cool, though. It aerates it and helps it stick to the fish more.
Okay.
More wasabi down there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's the menu. They gave me a whole menu kind of explaining what everything is. Oh, so I didn't mention, when you check in, you're basically assigned one person who takes care of you. And they're kind of right outside the door anytime you need anything.
Yeah.
And so she was the one that served me all of my meals too. And that was really fun, kind of having that personal treatment and getting to talk to her a little bit and practice my Japanese. And every time she brought out a course, she would explain exactly what each of these things is. But, from what I've learned from being a hopeless Japan nerd, I knew what a lot of this food was. So she'd be pointing out oh, this is pickles. And I'm like, oh, that's shibazuke, right? And she's like, oh, what? Nobody knows. Nobody's ever known what that is.
Yeah.
Here's some mushrooms in fish eggs. There's some koji marinated shrimp. There's a steak. I don't know. Maybe I don't need to describe every single course, but this meal was extremely elaborate and extremely delicious. There's some eel. There's some zaru soba, soba noodles with a dipping sauce and more fresh wasabi. Dessert was a little pudding thing and some fruit jelly with grapes. And Paul, I could eat that way every day. It was so good.
I bet you could.
And I really enjoyed every moment at this ryokan. I tried to spend as much time as possible. It was hard to feel like I was getting the full value out of it because I couldn't be in every room at once, I'd be reading downstairs for a while out, enjoying the nature. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me go up to the moon viewing platform and read up there for a while. I got through a whole lot of the book I was reading at this place, and it was just perfectly relaxing. After dinner, they even brought me a late night snack I mean, they didn't come in and knock on the door late at night. They brought this in like immediately after dinner. It was like, I'm going to leave this here and you can have it later. That was really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Breakfast, just as elaborate as dinner. I won't go through everything, but it was all so amazing. The food was incredible. So the next day, this is day 21, I wanted to explore Hakone a little bit. The first day, I just showed up at the ryokan. This day, I wanted to get out there and see what there is to see around there. And just coincidentally, two of the people, a guy and a gal, that were at the podcast meetup were going to be in Hakone the same time I was. So we actually met up. We kind of came from different directions and met up at Owakudani. You know anything about Owakudani, Paul?
It looks like a mine.
I don't know if they still do. They used to mine sulfur here, I believe. But there are all of these geysers spewing sulfurous gas up into the air. A really kind of crazy looking place. Just really smoky and rocky. And I'd heard that it smelled a lot like eggs. It didn't smell as strongly as I'd expected. I've been to Yellowstone where they have all the geysers and the sulfur, and that place was much smellier from what I recall.
Were you upwind or downwind from this? All that smoke seems to be going in the same direction.
I think the smoke was kind of going up to the platform where we were all kind of hanging around, where they have the gift shops and restaurants and everything.
Okay.
But yeah, really interesting place. They have a geo museum that we went to there too that explains how they kind of created hot springs there. Like there wasn't actually water coming up, but they would dump water into these things and it would mix with the gas and get heated up, and then they would take the hot water out.
Sure.
Interesting kind of man-made onsen in a way. This area is also known for these black eggs. They cook eggs in the sulfur water stuff and they turn black. And one of the people that was at the meetup told me that they don't even know why they turn black exactly. The whole chemical reaction that happens is kind of a mystery or something. But there's this legend that if you eat one of these black eggs, it adds a certain number of years to your life. I think the number is 7, but I swear at the ryokan they told me it was 10, and then I read somewhere it's like 5 to 7. It's unclear.
Okay.
But I didn't actually end up eating one of the eggs because you can only buy them in packs of 4, and I was already pretty full from breakfast. Once you peel the shell off, it's kind of just an egg anyway, you know?
Yeah.
But the three of us had a really good time, kind of looking around up there and just hanging out and talking and going through that museum, like I said. This was really fun, man. They had this little room where, like, it looked like it was kind of for kids, where you can get a little piece of paper with Hakone's mascot on there, and you can color it. And so the three of us colored in our little Hakone guys and posted them on the wall. But as I was looking at all the other ones on the wall, it looked like most of them were adult, like foreigner tourists.
Doesn't it ask how old you are to write on the bottom there?
Yeah.
And you wrote that you're 8?
Yeah.
You liar.
So I thought it was funny.
I thought you never lied, Jason.
That's not a lie. That's a joke, Paul.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, no 8-year-old could color in something that well. Look at the level of skill displayed in that artwork. That's a piece of art right there.
Oh, it looked 8-year-old believable to me.
How dare you? I did have some black ice cream.
Can't pass up the ice cream. You can pass up the egg, but not the ice cream.
And I'd had black ice cream, the black sesame ice cream before, but this was blacker than any ice cream I'd ever seen.
Black.
This is like blacker than your heart, Paul.
Looks like you're eating charcoal there, which is what you're going to get in your stocking this year.
That's actually, charcoal is what they use to color this stuff. It's bamboo charcoal.
That's supposed to be good for your digestion.
Yeah, it didn't change the flavor at all. It just tasted like vanilla, but it really changed the texture. Like you can see it's kind of like clumpy a little bit.
Yeah.
It was actually smooth when you start eating it, but it was really thick.
Okay.
That's kind of interesting, yeah. So the guy and the gal that I was with, the guy and I got the black ice cream, and the gal got this other ice cream that was like custard flavored. And she was laughing at us because apparently it turned our mouths all black.
Charcoal, I bet.
I don't think I got a picture of that.
Oh, wow.
This is the view of Fuji from the top of Owakudani.
That is a great view of Fuji. That's so good.
Just you wait. It gets even better. But yeah, I was very excited to be in such a perfect position to see it. But again, like we mentioned in a past recap episode, no snow at the top. Not even a hint of snow up there.
Right.
Some pictures of the three of us before we said goodbye, because like I said, we both kind of came from opposite directions, and then we were leaving two opposite directions. But we had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. So I took the ropeway down the other side from Owakudani. Got some nice views of Mount Fuji from there as well. Paul, I think it was like the 30th anniversary of Evangelion. Is that it? They had Evangelion stuff all over the place. I feel like I actually had seen this exact same Eva statue in Fukuoka.
They just move it around.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Evangelion was like 94, 95. So yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
30 years.
So this is like the station where you can, well, you get off of the ropeway and then you get on the boat that goes across Lake Ashi. And they had it all kind of decked out to look like Evangelion stuff. So these boats are kind of weird. They're like pirate ship style a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, it's very fancy though.
Mm-hmm.
Hakone craft beer, Odawara craft chuhai, Sengoku rusks, Hakone sweets, and original pirate ship goods. We also sell cheesecake from Hakone Cheese Terrace, a popular shop in Moto Hakone Port in limited quantities.
The boat was very full. It's kind of a sightseeing thing. Like they do have an intercom, I think, talking about things you can see out the window. But like not everybody's even able to sit by the window, so you can't really see a whole lot. It was a little bit disappointing, but it got me to the other end of the lake, which is where I wanted to go. So that was fine. From the other end of the lake, I walked over to the Hakone checkpoint. This was really interesting. There's not a ton to see there. I didn't spend a ton of time, but it's really interesting just to see this piece of history. This is basically, so back in the Edo period, the Tokugawas really locked everything down. People were not allowed to travel freely, and they had to pass through this checkpoint. This was kind of the main checkpoint between the Kanto and Kansai areas, and you had to go through, and there were people working there that would check out everything that you were carrying and make sure you weren't doing anything illegal or smuggling people into somewhere they're not supposed to be, things like that. So it was really cool to walk through there and see all these displays, and there was a lot of English here, really good explanations of the types of people that were working here, the different roles. There was some really kind of scary stories about people. Like there was this one girl who had been brought to Tokyo, or Edo at the time, and tried to escape west, and she tried to bypass the checkpoint by like going a few miles north, but there was still a fence like going pretty far into the mountains. Like it was nearly impossible to get past this checkpoint without going through it.
Wow.
And she was like a teenage girl, and when they found her trying to get past, they executed her.
Oh man.
Yeah. So from the checkpoint, I walked over to this spot that is marked on Google Maps as like best view of Mount Fuji. So of course I had to go there and get some pictures. And Paul, look at this.
That's a pretty nice view.
It gets better. Let me find.
You get the lake. You've got the foothills in front of it. You've got the floating torii gate in the lake.
And then as I was standing there taking tons of pictures, guess what came along?
The ship. You got the ship and the mountain and the torii gate. Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's pretty cool.
I was really excited about these pictures.
Are you finally satisfied that you got some good Mount Fuji pictures?
No. I'm very happy with the pictures I got.
Snow cap?
I need the snow cap, Paul.
All right, we got to go back in December.
I feel like I didn't experience all of Hakone. I think we should go back there together sometime.
Yeah, I really want to go there. Yeah, and just explore that whole area. We can do the Fuji 5 lakes. There's a lot we can do around there.
Yeah. So then I took a bus back to my ryokan, hung out in the private onsen, the one that wasn't in my room, the outdoor private onsen. And then I had another amazing kaiseki dinner. And this one, I'd actually paid to get some extra really delicious Wagyu beef. So this meal actually
The
included
30 courses you got the night before wasn't enough for you. Had to add the Wagyu.
well, and this was a different dinner. I was really curious if they serve like the same dinner each night because I feel like most people probably only spend one night there. But it was a whole new menu.
Nice.
And then, so I got a Wagyu beef shabu shabu, which is basically, there's like a broth and you kind of swish the meat through there to cook it. That's where it gets its name. Shabu shabu is the sound of it swishing through the broth. That was really delicious. And then immediately after that, I got some sukiyaki with more Wagyu beef. And it was great. It was so great, Paul.
Glad you enjoyed.
I won't list all the courses, but look at that, Paul. More amazing uni, more fresh ground wasabi, more frothed soy sauce. It was so good. And then, so like I said, they had that huge list of interesting shochu and sake. I got this tsunto, which is a shochu made from wasabi.
Ooh, how was
Paul,
that?
it was so bizarre. Like, I'd never smelled any drink like this stuff. You could tell it was made from something special. I don't know if I would say I could really... Well, yeah. You get the wasabi coming through, but it's only like certain parts of it because, of course, it's distilled, you know? I don't know. It was very strange, but tasty. Again, tried to spend as much time as I could soaking in the luxury of the ryokan. Spend as much time in the private onsen as I could. I watched... They had a whole DVD collection, so I finally watched Ponyo. I'd never seen that. Have you seen that one?
Not that I can recall.
It's a Studio Ghibli film. It's pretty good. I liked it.
Nice.
And then I read out on the moon viewing platform and everything. Oh, man, it was so great. The ultimate relaxation.
Nice. You had a long trip, too. I'm sure it felt nice to relax a little bit.
Yeah. Then I had another amazing breakfast. There's those new flowers. I think that's the same scroll.
Yeah.
Got some pictures outside by myself and then with the woman that had been serving me the whole time I was there. She was so nice.
That's cool.
Then I took a train back to Tokyo. So my original plan had been to stop in Kamakura on the way back to Tokyo, but I decided instead to skip that.
And go buy more anime crap.
Well, before that, I had to buy more jeans.
You had to get the denim
But yeah,
first.
I did want to make sure I had enough time to just hang out in Akihabara, check out all the stores. But first, I went over to Denimio, which is in Yokohama. I'd actually ordered jeans, I think multiple pairs of jeans from this place online. If you're interested in buying jeans from Japan online, go to denimio.com. They have a really good selection and really good prices too, the Japanese prices. But this was the first time I'd ever visited their physical location, and it was really cool. I mean, you walk in there, and it's basically just racks and racks of jeans. Like, the whole place is just... It doesn't look like a store as much as just a jeans warehouse, kind of.
Yeah.
But I asked them to help me find what I was looking for. I was looking for some samurai jeans. They didn't have anything in the weight and size that I wanted, so I asked, like, okay, well, can you help me find something like somewhere around medium weight and slim tapered kind of thing? And they were extremely helpful and brought me so many different things to try. And I finally found the perfect pair of jeans. It ended up being from Kamikaze Attack, which is a brand in Kojima.
Your first pair of kamikazes?
Yeah, I wasn't even, I had been planning on getting my first pair of samurais, and I was excited about that, but I ended up completely satisfied because I thought Kamikaze Attack was a really interesting brand too it's a unique one. Like, it's a smaller one that you don't hear about as much.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really happy with those. And then I headed back over to Akihabara and just spent the rest of the night walking around and shopping, basically. I stopped at this really great katsu place for dinner. I don't have many pictures from this because it was really just like hours and hours of walking around Akihabara, looking at all the stuff. And then the next morning I got some ramen, also in Akihabara. I stopped by the keyboard specialty shop. I stopped by Akioka, the artisan street. We've talked about that before. I don't know, just kind of tried to soak in as much Akihabara as I could. And then I headed over to the airport. Oh, I did stop at the convenience store a few times in Akihabara to get a bunch of snacks to bring home, to use up the last of my cash. I think I still have some money on my Suica for when we visit next. But I did try to buy a bunch of snacks at the airport too, use up the last of that.
I think I had 40 yen left after I got to the airport on my Suica.
Wow.
I was looking at Google and it was telling me like, oh, it's going to be 540 yen. And I'm like, I got 580 on my card. I should be good.
Did you have cash still, or had you used all that?
I think I had 1,000.
Okay, so you wouldn't have been like
and I
stuck.
had some coins. Yeah, I would have been okay.
I mean, you could have walked to 7-Eleven too. That's another thing I should mention. Because of my paranoia, in the past I've always gotten a bunch of yen in advance before going to Japan. I'd never used an ATM in Japan. This trip, I used the 7-Eleven ATM several times because I just started going through my cash really fast at the beginning for some reason. And I just wanted to reassure anyone out there that's interested that it's really easy.
Yeah, it is. It's not hard to get cash in Japan anymore.
Have you done that? I thought you said you'd done that like on your very first trip, but did you use ATMs on this trip at all?
No.
Okay. Well, at the 7-Eleven, you just hit the English button and it walks you through everything. It explains any fees and stuff. My bank refunds ATM fees, so all I had to worry about was the exchange rate that it gave me, and I thought it was very fair.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I flew home. Again, I had nobody sitting next to me, which was, again, really awesome. Flight was fine. I watched Hocus Pocus. Remember that movie?
Yep.
When was the last time you saw that?
20 years ago?
Yeah, it was the same for me. Probably closer to 30 years ago. I was kind of surprised how much I retained, though. It's very familiar. But yeah, flight was fine. Got back. Cried. I didn't actually cry. Part of me was like pretty happy to be back to the comforts of home, but you know, you look back, especially when you go back to work, it's like, man, being on vacation is so much better than this.
I feel like I had a pep in my step for 4 days after I came back. But like the fourth day of work in a row, I was just kind of like, okay, back to the grind.
Yeah. Well, anything else, Paul?
That was our trip to Japan.
That was the trip. Really great trip. I hope we didn't lay it on too thick with that whole betrayal thing. Paul, no hard feelings. I love you very much. And, you know, we were joking.
Same.
We were like 90% joking.
True. If we didn't have love, we couldn't bicker like that.
Exactly.
I would never bicker like that with someone I actually didn't like.
Ditto.
But for real though, who's in the wrong, guys?
Yeah, let us know. Who do you side with? And why is it me?
I did it first, but Jason did it twice.
We don't need to get back into that. I could say some things, but before we go, we should thank our Shogun level patrons: Wesley C., Nicholas McKibben, Kevin Harris, Brady K., Jack, Michael Morris, David Imani, Darwin Perrier, Ethan Teague, Yasmin, Jason, Katarina and Ellery, Susan, Tori, Shaked Rosenthal, Tina Anderson, Alexa Gonzalez, Pamela Arola, Kevin Phillips, Franzi and Matthias. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
And again, this is the last episode of Season 5, but we won't be gone for long, and all of our patrons will have a bunch of stuff popping up on that feed. I'm really looking forward to getting our videos out there. Maybe those will be out there by the time this episode is released. Hopefully. We'll see. I'm really excited for next season. I already have a big list of episode topics that I want to do.
Okay. We have a huge list. There's so many.
Yeah.
Man.
We'll have to get together to go through those, pick out the very best ones.
Yep.
Well, I would ask you what we were going to talk about next time, but neither of us knows yet.
To be determined. But Japan's something.
Yep. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.